What is a closing attorney in New York?
A closing attorney plays a pivotal role in ensuring a smooth and legally sound closing process for both buyers and sellers. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer, an experienced investor, or a property owner looking to sell, understanding the importance of a closing attorney in New York is essential for safeguarding your interests and navigating the intricate landscape of real estate transactions.
Definition of a closing attorney. Closing attorneys are widely experienced in real estate law and have a deep understanding of the required documents for a closing.
They prepare and review all the necessary paperwork, ensuring that everything is in order and compliant with legal requirements. If any legal questions or issues arise during the closing process, your attorney is there to provide guidance and clarity. They help you understand the terms and conditions outlined in the closing documents, making sure you are fully informed about the implications of the transaction.
The responsibilities of a closing attorney.
Conducting title searches. This involves examining the property's title history to verify its ownership and determine if there are any liens, encumbrances, or legal issues associated with the property.
Reviewing and preparing closing documents. These documents include the purchase agreement, deed, mortgage documents, affidavits, and various other legal forms required to complete the transaction.
Once the review is complete, the closing attorney prepares the final versions of the documents and coordinates their execution. They explain the contents of the documents to the parties involved and ensure that they are signed, witnessed, and notarized correctly. Managing escrow accounts. An escrow account is a third-party account where funds related to the transaction are securely held until the closing is completed. The closing attorney verifies the accuracy of all financial transactions, including the calculation of the purchase price, loan payoffs, and prorated property taxes. They work closely with the parties involved, such as buyers, sellers, and lenders, to ensure that the funds are appropriately disbursed and that all financial obligations, including taxes and outstanding liens, are satisfied. Facilitating communication between parties. Effective communication is vital in any real estate transaction, and closing attorneys serve as a central point of contact for all parties involved. They facilitate communication between buyers, sellers, real estate agents, lenders, and other relevant parties throughout the closing process.
Closing attorneys address any concerns, questions, or disputes that may arise during the transaction. They provide guidance and clarification on legal matters, ensuring that all parties understand their rights, obligations, and the implications of the transaction. The role of a closing attorney in mortgage transactions. Representation for the buyer or lender. A closing attorney represents either the buyer or the lender in mortgage transactions. If representing the buyer, the closing attorney ensures that their client's interests are protected throughout the process. They review the mortgage terms, explain the obligations and implications to the buyer, and ensure that the terms align with the buyer's expectations and financial capabilities. When representing the lender, the closing attorney ensures that the mortgage documentation is accurate, complete, and compliant with all legal requirements. They work closely with the lender to ensure that their interests are safeguarded and that the mortgage agreement is legally enforceable. Navigating mortgage agreements. The closing attorney reviews the mortgage agreement to ensure that it accurately reflects the terms agreed upon by the parties involved. They verify that the interest rate, repayment schedule, and other crucial elements are correctly stated. If any discrepancies or concerns are identified, the closing attorney will work to address them and negotiate modifications if necessary. Ensuring compliance with mortgage regulations. They review the mortgage documents for compliance with federal, state, and local regulations, such as disclosure requirements, truth in lending laws, and fair lending practices. This meticulous review helps mitigate legal risks and ensures that the transaction is conducted in accordance with the applicable laws. Identifying and managing risks in mortgage transactions. They conduct thorough due diligence, reviewing the title, property documents, and other relevant information to identify any liens, encumbrances, or legal disputes that may affect the mortgage. By proactively identifying risks, the closing attorney can propose strategies to address them, such as negotiating with sellers to resolve outstanding issues or recommending additional insurance coverage. This risk management approach helps protect the buyer or lender from potential legal implications that could arise in the future. Closing the deal, the final steps.
Ensuring all documents are in order. The closing attorney verifies that the documents are accurately prepared, executed, and notarized, adhering to the legal requirements of the state of New York. They ensure that all terms and conditions outlined in the agreement are reflected in the final documents, and that any contingencies or special provisions are addressed properly. By ensuring the completeness and accuracy of the documents, the closing attorney helps minimize potential legal disputes and ensures a smooth and legally sound closing process. Facilitating the closing meeting. During the closing meeting, the closing attorney acts as a mediator between the buyer and the seller.
They review the key documents with all parties involved, explaining their contents and answering any questions or concerns raised.
This includes going through the final closing statement, verifying the financial calculations, and ensuring that all parties are in agreement before proceeding. Additionally, the closing attorney oversees the signing and notarization of the necessary documents by all parties involved, ensuring compliance with legal requirements. Their presence provides assurance that the transaction is executed correctly and legally. Dispersing funds and ensuring transfer of title. The closing attorney manages the escrow account, where the funds are securely held during the closing process. They coordinate with the parties involved, such as the buyer, seller, and lender, to ensure that all financial obligations, including loan payoffs, taxes, and closing costs, are satisfied.
Once all the financial aspects are settled, the closing attorney facilitates the transfer of the title.
They ensure that the deed is properly executed and recorded, transferring ownership from the seller to the buyer. Record-keeping and post-closing matters. They ensure that all relevant documents are properly filed and recorded with the appropriate government agencies, such as the county recorder's office. This includes recording the deed and mortgage documents, which helps establish a clear chain of title and protects the buyer's interests. Additionally, the closing attorney assists with post-closing matters, such as resolving any outstanding issues or disputes that may arise after the closing. They may help address title defects, coordinate with insurance companies for policy issuance, and provide guidance on any legal matters that may arise. By overseeing record-keeping and post-closing matters, the closing attorney ensures that the transaction is fully completed, and all loose ends are tied up, providing a seamless transition for the buyer and seller.
The benefits of hiring a closing attorney in New York. Mitigating legal risks. Closing attorneys are skilled in identifying and mitigating these risks, reducing the chances of legal complications arising in the future.
Streamlining the closing process. A closing attorney streamlines the process by managing the details and ensuring that all necessary steps are completed accurately and on time. They liaise with lenders, real estate agents, title companies, and other professionals involved in the transaction to gather and verify information, coordinate inspections, and address any issues that may arise. This proactive approach helps prevent delays and keeps the closing process on track. Ensuring compliance with New York laws and regulations. Closing attorneys have a deep understanding of these legal requirements and ensure that the transaction complies with them. They ensure that all contracts and agreements adhere to the relevant laws, such as property disclosure requirements, fair housing laws, and zoning regulations.
Working with an experienced New York closing attorney.
In the dynamic real estate landscape of New York, a real estate attorney plays an indispensable role in ensuring a secure and smooth transaction for both buyers and sellers. Their experience in real estate law, meticulous attention to detail, and ability to navigate the complexities of the closing process are invaluable assets. By acting as a trusted advisor and advocate, a New York closing attorney provides peace of mind to their clients, safeguarding their interests and ensuring compliance with all legal requirements. Whether it's reviewing contracts, conducting thorough title searches, or resolving potential issues, their presence throughout the closing process helps mitigate risks and paves the way for a successful and satisfying real estate experience. At Avenue Law Firm, partnering with our skilled Manhattan real estate lawyers is an essential step toward achieving a seamless and legally sound closing. Contact us today at 212-729-4090 to schedule a consultation.